that you know if you're going to like somebody in the first 5 seconds. You ever hear that one?
See how far we get. But I'm very optimistic that we will have a successful outcome from tomorrow's meeting between these two leaders.
That's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and President Trump as they get ready for this historic meeting between the two leaders. Karen Travers is with the delegation in Singapore. ABC News correspondent. Good morning, Karen Travers.
Good morning.
So when does this thing get underway?
The first meeting will be at 9 a.m. local time. We're 12 hours ahead of Eastern time, so it's all Monday night for the U.S. The president will have first a meeting with just Kim Jong-un and a translator. That's it, just the two leaders. They'll then bring in the delegations from both countries for another meeting and then a working lunch. But then that's it. The president will wrap up this summit in one day. It is not going to extend beyond Tuesday. The president will take questions from reporters, and he's actually heading back to Washington Tuesday night.
Let's talk about taking questions from reporters. Kim Jong-un doesn't normally take questions from independent journalists.
I didn't say Kim Jong-un was taking questions.
Okay.
President Trump is taking questions tomorrow. That's according to the White House.
So it's not going to be the two of them there standing at a podium.
There's no indication that this is a joint press conference. They say the president will hold a media availability.
Take us through the sights and sounds. What's the feeling like there?
The security is really tight across the city. You have the two hotels where each leader is staying, but the event itself will take place on island just off the city here, and that's going to be very heavily fortified. It's a 5-star resort that it's taking place, but people won't be able to get there. I mean, there's a reason why Singapore was picked to host this summit. They have diplomatic relations with North Korea, so there's that. It was logistically possible for Kim Jong-un to travel here. It's also just a very tightly controlled country, so there will be no demonstrations, nothing like that out on the streets.
What is the hope of the administration? What are the fears of the administration?
Well, they want to see North Korea agree to give up its nuclear weapons. They want to see the start of a process toward an agreement to a complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization. Those three words are very key: complete, verifiable, and irreversible. Of course, the skeptics will say, why would Kim Jong-un follow through? Why North Korea hasn't before? They haven't lived up to their end of bargains. The administration says they're doing things differently, by having President Trump sit down with Kim Jong-un and make it very clear that if he gives up his weapons, there will be a brighter future for North Korea. There will be economic assistance. There will be security. There will be protections from regime change. I mean, the president's really laid his cards on the table. It is very clear what Kim Jong-un will get if he gives up his weapons.
How much is the contentious meetings over the weekend with our closest allies? How much of that is overhanging this?
It's not. I mean, there's certainly questions that came up today in a briefing with the Secretary of State. He didn't want to get into it. It's in the headline still because the president was tweeting about it once he landed in Singapore. So while the White House will say they don't want that to overshadow what they feel is the more consequential summit, in their view, the one the president's more excited for, quite clearly, it's the president who very much still has the G7 and Justin Trudeau on his mind.
Karen Travers in Singapore with ABC News. Karen, thanks, and we'll check in with you tomorrow morning.
Thanks.
7